Hi, and welcome to the Zero Wasted Days podcast. I am Suzanne. I am a former C-level executive turned seven-figure serial entrepreneur. I'm a life-first business mentor, and I love helping women entrepreneurs merge strategy, feminine energetics, and embodiment to create outside-the-box business solutions and energetic solutions to their business challenges. I believe that it's time that we shift our perspective on business and life and see that our businesses are the means to us living life first. Reinventing the way that we go about our days as entrepreneurs, this podcast is designed for dream makers and action takers, and also those who value going slow and savoring the moments in between. This is the essence of living a zero wasted days life, and I welcome you to the Zero Wasted Days podcast. And welcome back to Zero Wasted Days. Today you have me in my office in the studio here talking to you with a solo episode, and I'm really excited about the topic that I'm going to be talking to you about. It is near and dear to my heart and has played more and more of a role in my business and an importance in my business, and I really want to help you see the importance of this aspect, and this has to do with connection. Now, connection is actually my word of the year, so every year I pick a word that I want it to influence what I'm doing. And I usually pick that word around the new year time. And this year has been very much about connection. And it's no surprise that I launched my podcast. I've been able to connect with a lot of new people. And I'm going to tell you a couple of little stories, one in particular around a mastermind that I have been in that has really deepened my understanding and just my bond and just my knowledge, and has really deepened my understanding and appreciation for how important connection is. Connection really is our innate need as a human and really is key to our true expansion. I remember sitting on my bed in a rental property while we were building this house here in France. And around 6 p.m. every Friday night, this was back in 2018, I'd get on a call in my mastermind with my first soul sisters. I say first soul sisters because it really was the first time I experienced the power, the true power of connection in this way, and the power of sisterhood that would be found inside the mastermind that I joined. Inside this mastermind, we all had the chance to share for 2-3 minutes what was going on in our lives, after which time our coach Amber would give us some of her thoughts, some coaching sometimes, some tactics. And usually one of the most important things that I realized that in reflection that she did was that she just held space. Yes, we all paid money for her to hold space, and it was transformational. We got a lot more out of the mastermind than just her holding space. I really didn't realize the power of this work and the container with other women until really months afterwards. But what transpired on those calls was truly sacred. And sometimes we would talk strategies, or somebody was launching something, while other times we would just be talking about motherhood or womanhood. And it really was a place to talk freely and be in community with other women. And really, it's as we are meant to be. The more that I shared inside this mastermind, and the less that I searched each week for, that good question. When I'm sitting there, I'm like, okay, I've got to make, at the beginning, I would say, and I've got to make this worth it. And I got to ask her a really good question. There's people watching me, and I was conscious of that. The more that I let go of that, truly, the more that it revealed for me. The deeper my connection with others became, and the deeper the connection with myself became. Beautifully, as the months went by, the more I deepened this connection with myself and with others, truly the more that I expanded. When I say expanded, it really was on all levels that this happened, and has in every other group container that I have been in since then. It's really extended throughout my business, from the connections that I make on social media, connection with my peers, connections with clients. The more that you connect, the more you expand your emotional surface area to receive. Now, I expanded what felt safe at the time to share inside that container. And on the outside, I also started feeling more safe sharing with my community. So this was one of the benefits that came out of sharing more vulnerably in that mastermind space. I started building my confidence and realizing that this sharing and connecting and getting vulnerable was actually going to be a very important aspect to my business because it was actually going to connect me to clients and to my audience. I started really leaning into my own thought leadership and really feeling safe knowing that my truth was the exact thing that people wanted and needed to hear from me to connect themselves. I also started really expanding kind of my ability to receive, something I didn't think I necessarily had an issue with before this, but clearly I did. Opening up to receive anything, whether that's knowledge or love or guidance or friendship or abundance, requires that you open up a vulnerability. And when you do, you reveal a little more of your true self when you open yourself up to receive and slowly start lowering the barriers. You get rid of the facade, the masks, making it seem like all is okay, even when it's not. So, in fact, I didn't realize, but I'd operated in a it's okay mode for a very long time, maybe my whole adult life. So, to take down the facade and at times share that it wasn't okay and it wasn't all tickety boo took a lot of courage. I also had to do a lot of my own healing. It took time and is still part of my ongoing work to not always toe the line or put up a facade when things are feeling heavy or life is hard. We are so programmed and conditioned to stay in our comfort zones, and as women, help keep other people in their comfort zones. That when we go to extend or expand or push into areas that make ourselves or others uncomfortable, initially it feels really hard. Our bodies and our minds, everything that's part of us, pushes back with resistance. And to say things in your work or on a story in Instagram or through your thought leadership that may be polarizing feels unsafe because you could see those eyes and people watching you. What is she talking about as friends watch you on Instagram? So you stay in that comfort zone and you stay safe. You say what others are saying. You copy what others are doing. You compare yourself to others and you might put your own spin on it, but everything stays pretty neutral, pretty beige. So to learn how to connect better with others and with yourself is absolutely key to expand into new areas personally and to learn how to share your truths. To stay in your silo, so to speak, keeps you protected, but it also keeps you small. Now, earlier this year, when I was in a new mastermind and I was really deepening my own personal work again, not just personal, but my business work again, I was not just in this space connecting with women, but I was really learning about true sisterhood. I didn't realize that I came to the table with sister wounds, but it was quickly revealed that I did. And the process of unpacking them didn't just connect me forever with some of the women that I met, but reconnected me with myself in a completely mind-blowing way. I never realized that through all of the moves that I had as a child, I moved about 5 times, which I'm sure that there are people that have moved a lot more times than that. But I moved about 5 times up to the time that I went to university. And over that time, I really never learned how to connect with friends on a deep level. And when I moved to Australia in 2001, I made some beautiful friends in Melbourne, but never ones that really knew me at an intimate level. And I lived there for almost 20 years. And I'll say initially, when I thought to myself after we had moved, how quickly those friendships dissipated, it really hurt. And I found it really hard to deal with until I understood better as to why this happened. So in sisterhood this year, I started getting truly vulnerable and I shared my truest truths. I didn't say, yeah, all is okay when it wasn't. I was going through a real rebirth in my own business. And I truly know that this container, this mastermind, was divinely timed to help me connect with a deeper version of myself. So I saw that the more that I shared my truths in sisterhood, the more that we connected and bonded, and the more that we looked out for each other. And the care and the love was absolutely genuine. Sure, I didn't befriend like everybody in the container, but I can speak of one beautiful new soul sister in particular that made it known at the end of the container that I was stuck with her for life. And it felt really beautiful to know that in quite a short span of time, by getting vulnerable and sharing more aspects of me, sharing my truth, that I had connected and bonded with somebody in a way that I probably haven't done so ever. And that's what connection does. There's so much research around connection and so many studies of like mammals to, I don't know, the smallest rodents up all the way up to humans that suggest that we are so profoundly shaped by our social environment. And we suffer greatly when our social bonds are not there. We may not like the fact that we are wired in such a way that our well-being depends so much on our connection with others, but the facts are pretty concrete. We need others to survive and have optimal well-being. In the evolution of humans, we've really thrived as a species by connecting with others, whether we were like hunting or we were gathering, or even a couple hundred years ago, we were like traveling in stagecoaches. We did so in social groups. And it's this human connection that has really advanced our world from that place where we were gathering and hunting for our food to shopping for it in grocery stores now in our modern times. Simply put, we need human connection. Connecting with others on a physical and an emotional level can really improve our health and our overall well-being. The aspect that has been more and more interesting to me as I've deepened my knowledge in this space has been my own work in the energetic space and how energetic calibration and frequency can affect our businesses. And it revolves a lot around the vagus nerve. Now, I talk at length about this, and I'm not going to go into it too deep here, but I want to give you a little bit of a snapshot because it's super powerful. And I do talk a lot about this inside my program, Energy Code, in the behind the scenes, like, why is this so important? But our nervous system controls everything that we do. And in particular, so many of our behaviors and habits and conditioning that we exhibit on a daily basis in our lives and in our businesses. We procrastinate, we are super people pleasers, we overwork. And these things come back to, one, chronic or long-term stress and anxiety that so many people live with. And two, it results in a dysregulated nervous system. So at the root of nervous system, I like to call it harmonization or regulation. It is all about activating and toning the vagus nerve. The vagus nerve is like a web of powerful nerves that control so much of our emotional and physical well-being, with it also impacting a lot of our organs as well, including our gut. So when someone talks about having a gut feeling, this is often because the activation of the vagus nerve in your gut giving you a visceral or like a physical response to something, which is really cool. I had a client that actually used to react viscerally when she received an invoice in her inbox or her mailbox by the post. Instantly, she felt unsafe from years of conditioning and triggers when it came to money and her safety. And we worked together to help her regulate this and know what to do when she was triggered, and then eventually reducing and removing these triggers when we rewired what she made these invoices mean in her mind. So that was pretty cool. So what does this all have to do with connection? When our vagus nerve is regulated, it's actually called, which has been coined by one of the leading vagus nerve researchers, which is Stephen Porges, it's called to be in social engagement. When you have a healthy vagus nerve tone, don't let me lose you here, hang on, you are in optimal mental and physical health. And it even helps regulate things like facial muscles. There's aspects of it with the ear and our ability to actually give people more attention because you're hearing better. So it all has to do with influencing. So the vagus nerve influences our heart rate and our breathing and is involved in how we perceive, react, and recover from stress. For example, under certain social conditions where we feel really confident, our heart rate and our breathing will naturally slow down, and our blood pressure will go down as well. That will lower, and our stress response switches off. So our bodies enter a state of calm, pretty much. And this is because we feel safe enough to move closer to that other person. So this is the ultimate state that we want to be in. We want to be in a state of regulation so that under all of those social conditions, we feel confident. Our heart rates are not elevated, which happens when we are stressed and anxious. We have regular breathing, and then everything else falls into place, and it has such a huge impact on our physical health. So having a healthy vagus nerve or a regulated nervous system has so many flow-on effects and benefits. Stephen Porges called it social engagement because it enhances our sense of safety, and it really gives us that kind of positive feedback loop, which again results in more and more calm. So social interactions with other people and connections are really important to our existence as humans. And our social engagement system, so how toned or how activated or regulated our vagus nerve or our nervous system is, determines the quality of those interactions. Let me say that again. Social interactions are really important in our experience as humans. And our social engagement system, so the nervous system when it is regulated is called the social engagement system, determines the quality of those interactions. So those calmer behavioral states in others can really induce similar states in other people who may also be struggling. This is called co-regulation, and we have this effect on each other. So here we are where most people think that having a regulated nervous system only affects themselves, where in reality, a regulated nervous system will determine the quality of all of your social interactions and the connection with others. So the benefits of a regulated nervous system are huge and extend far beyond just social interactions. But from a place of safety with your nervous system, your capacity to call in things that maybe once felt unsafe becomes possible. Your capacity to earn more money in your business comes down to this energetic capacity and safety. Your ability to make genuine connections with others comes down to your energetic capacity, the quality of interactions based on your social engagement system. So how regulated you are. And therefore, making a link back to business, your ability to actually acquire clients. So when your nervous system is regulated and you increase your energetic capacity, you increase what you're telling your body is safe to do. Your personal frequency, we are all energy, right? Your personal frequency also starts to increase. You operate from this place of more abundance and safety and love and joy instead of maybe fear or scarcity or doubt. And this is super magnetic. This is why regulation is so important for connection, and connections are really important for regulation. And it's a beautiful cycle that just keeps on paying back. So I hope that you're able to take away from this particular episode that connection is key to growing your energetic capacity and growing your business ultimately. Connection is also key to finding joy and happiness and fulfillment. And connection is key to having a deeper bond between just all of us as humans and with ourselves, and having resonance across all that you do. I'm really happy to say that I am still friends with so many of the women that I met back in that first mastermind, and so many of the other women in other group programs and masterminds since then. And I speak to a lot of them, actually. I was reflecting on this the other day. I speak, or I have these conversations in DMs or voice notes back and forth with a lot of these women, probably more than I do with my girlfriends. Because to forge a sisterhood is to forge a bond that connects you in the collective for life. So if you're keen to learn more about this, Energy Code is a program that I have that you can jump onto my website to find all about. So if you're keen to learn more about this and deepen your own work and learn how to increase your own energetic capacity, learn about your own frequency, learn about your own blueprint, how your behaviors and your habits are keeping you quite stuck in your business, and then learn how to actually call in more of your desires so that you can make more money, call in whatever abundance that is, whether that's time or whether that's gratitude or whether that's joy or whether that's money. Energy Code is the perfect program for you to be able to do that. It is a self-paced program, so you can jump in at any time, at different times, depending on when you're listening to this episode. I will also be running certain live cohorts of it. In June and July, there is a live cohort going on, so you can jump into, if you buy it as a self-paced program, you will also automatically get information about any of the live calls that are happening. Also in July and August of this year, 2023, I have a really powerful portal open for the integration of Energy Code in a one-on-one program. So it's called Shift, and it is super limited with numbers because it has this one-on-one component to it. But if you want to work through Energy Code and work with me one-on-one, then this is potentially for you. Lastly, if you wanted to just dip your toe in and learn more about your own energetic signature, you want to learn how to make more money and have more time without all of the stress and anxiety and all the hustle, then my Unhustle Mastermind is a great free resource for you to learn all about it. You can find the Unhustle Masterclass both on my website as well as through links on my Instagram bio. And if you're watching this video on YouTube, the best bet is probably just actually to jump over onto my website. I appreciate you being here. I also really appreciate all of you who have left reviews. If you have listened to an episode and it has resonated, I would really thank you. And I really appreciate that you leave a review on Apple Podcast or on Spotify. It really helps me get the word out there. It tells Apple that you like listening to what I have to say. And even better is if you leave a review and you share this podcast on social media. And it really helps me build this movement and helps my mission here at Zero Wasted Days. So thank you for joining me, and I look forward to seeing you all again next time. Joining me for this week's episode of Zero Wasted Days. I truly hope that you found it to be valuable and inspirational as you create and you grow your own business and work towards living more life first. I would love you to subscribe, to like this video, and of course, if you have any comments, drop them in here below. Also, if you tag me on socials, I would love to get to know you. I love connecting with my audience, so be sure to tag me at Suzanne Actison or at @ZeroWastedDays_, and I will see you inside the DMs as well as here for the next episode next week.